In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and God in me. First, let me welcome Uncle Samir and his group. We missed him very much. And already two of them, we got the fruits of the service serving their junior high tonight, Phoebe and Angie. So it's very nice, very refreshing. So I was asked to speak about the mentality of the servant. That's the topic that was given to me. And I did do my homework. So I hope whatever I say is not just my contemplations, but rather the opinion of the Bible. So basically, for us to have the mentality of the servant, we need to have the mentality of Christ as a servant. So what I'm going to show you tonight, how to acquire the mentality of Christ as the head servant. Because his mentality that no one is lost. For the Son of Man has come to seek and save which is lost. That's the mentality of Christ, the servant, and subsequently every servant. His mentality is repentance and remissions of sins for everyone. No one doesn't need these two parts. Now, you all have heard SMART. S for specific, M for measurable, A for accountable, R for reasonable, and T for time. So anything I'm going to give you today, in your mind, put it into that. You can't say, I want to know all the Psalms of David. That's unmeasurable. Unreasonable. There's no time limit. But if you tell me, as we did, for example, in this summer camp, we got 3 Psalms in every kid in 1 month. And now we're working in the second month in the second 3 Psalms. Measurable, time limited, and there is somebody accountable for it. So for any servant must have a SMART for any goal he or she does. So I'm going to give you 6, I think, or 7 points how to have the mentality of the servant. The first one is being proactive. And being proactive, I chose for you Jesus when he went to Nain and he met the widow who lost her son, and all of a sudden, they were really found a dead man being carried, and Jesus stopped the funeral. Then he touched it wasn't really a tomb, but really a slab with a sheet over the guy. And he told them to stand up, and he began to speak to him. And as a servant, your mentality, do you have to wait to serve until somebody asks you to serve? That's not the mentality of Christ the servant. Christ the servant is proactive. I will approach the service when I feel it's needed, even if I'm not asked by anyone. I found chairs, I can put it together. I found somebody sitting alone, I can go and talk to. Rather than I be with a group, I can be with somebody who is lonely or new. Do you get preoccupied with a group or a gang and then you forget about the soul? Because Jesus did not care about the group, but he cared about the mother. So being proactive, you need to have eyes in your head and to watch. The servant is not always having fun. Even when he's having fun, he watches that others should have all fun and no one is left out without. When you find yourself before a challenge, there's a death, there's a woman crying, what do you do? Proactive. At least do something. You may not be able to raise the dead, but certainly you can put your hand on the mom's shoulder and tell her, I'll go with you until the end. Would you emotionally move as Christ did in front of Lazarus. He cried. Although he was 10 minutes later, he raised him. Would you move as a servant? That's a mentality of a servant. Would you touch something that actually at that time was disgraceful? To touch a dead man, you get defiled. Would you touch the problem with your hand? Or you say, it's not my problem. The mentality of a servant, if this is a problem relates to Christ, it's my problem. I need to touch it. I may not solve it by my own hands, but I will never raise a dead. But I can at least face the problem, the challenge. Would you speak to the desperate and tell them there is hope? Not every problem is hopeless. I'll come back to this. The second is, so number one, be proactive, mentality of servant, being ready to accept. And I can tell you, we are in a culture today that we profile exactly like the FBI's profile. If they see a guy with a beard, his name is Abdullah, his whatever comes from Yemen, he is a terrorist until proven otherwise. Profile. They have their own profile. We start to profile. Who is deserving, who is not? Who should, who shouldn't? Who should come with us, who should not come with us? Who should be, who not be? Who should say? So, I picked on the prodigal son, and it will come more than once. The father respected the freedom of the other person, even though this freedom really caused them pain. The servant sometimes will accept the freedom of someone who tell them, don't talk to me anymore. You may have to accept. It hurts. You think when he told them goodbye, I want your money, I don't want to see your face anymore, it didn't hurt the father? Of course it did. There is pain, but respecting people's freedom, that's the mentality of the servant. What do you think the father has been doing? The father here is the servant. Has been doing all along when, let's say, 2 years passed and the prodigal son is out of the way. He never forgot him. He probably wasn't eating well. He wasn't going out. He wasn't having fun. Mentality of a servant should always be following up. You know, there is a difference between one doctor and another. One doctor will say, see me when you get sick. And another doctor will say, I'm going to call you in 3 months to follow up. The servant is like that. There is also a difference between a radiologist who diagnoses diseases and he doesn't do anything about it, and a clinician who finds a diagnosis but treats the disease. The servant is not a diagnostician. That's a problem today. We are saying, his mom is crazy, so the kid became like that. This kid is just disruptive. Okay, what do you want me to do now? You diagnose the problem. What do you do after? Do you have hope? Can you do anything about it? Would you at least pray for the person you cannot do anything about it? That's what the father was doing. He respected his freedom. The guy fled and took his money away and didn't come. And all of a sudden, he's not here. What can the father do? He can't do anything now except to pray. This is very important. One of the things that the servant may do, and we are still under number 2, ready to accept, is to accept unconditionally. And really, I learned many mistakes I did, how many times I profiled people that they will never know Christ, and for my stupidity, they are far better than any time I could have expected I would serve them. That's my foolishness. Because I may not have given them the love, the unconditional love, they accept them as is and let them change as is. I have seen many kids, their hair should not be in the church like this. And I've seen many servants who will make them cry because they don't like the way they look like. But believe me, nothing will change unless you love them as they do, and then they change while you love them. But you make them cut their hair today, and you do whatever, give them 2-3 years, they will not only grow their hair, they will despise the whole church. Because you actually didn't care about the person, you just want to look good, because the church has to look, profiling. So there was no unconditional love, because I profiled that kid that unacceptable. Still, ready to accept, tolerance, forgiveness, waiting, patience. One of the things that the mentality of a servant is clear is when he or she comes back or after they did something wrong, this father was willing to accept without telling him, reminding him or her with what they did. With what they did. We are in St. Mary's celebration this month. So I keep thinking of one event when Jesus was lost, semi-lost. Both of them thought that he was lost. Joseph thought he was with Mary, and 3 days later, he is not to be found. And they are the protector of salvation. Joseph is the defender of the most important royal family in the world, Jesus' family. So they went back. Look at what St. Mary did. As soon as she saw him, she could have said like any mother, "Are you crazy? Why did you do this? Why did you left the father's hand? Why did you stay here?" The only thing she said, "Your father and I have been seeking you with suffering." And right away, if I imagine a kid that really never responded, and I tell him, "I have been suffering waiting for you," I think that will melt anyone. Because I'm not blaming him about his hardness of heart. I'm just telling him about my response to his hardness, that I am waiting. And I am suffering for his loss, for his return. أبوك وأنا كنا نطلبك معذبين. Your father and I were seeking you suffering. Beautiful verse. Beautiful verse. The church and I, forget about St. Mary is a church. Imagine you are the servant, and you take this verse from St. Mary and you say, "The church and I have been seeking you suffering. We are waiting for you to come back." The mentality of a servant is a father. Regardless if you are a girl or a boy, parenthood or fatherhood. And fatherhood may actually get to a point where, say, rejection. How many of you said to your mom or dad when you were in high school, "Don't talk to me anymore. I don't want to see your face anymore." And you close the door and you don't want to. Every high school kid did that. Okay? Later on you find, what I was doing, I was crazy. But it's a phase. So the correct servant will think like this, that a father all the time. There is no father or mother today, if you meet any mother or father, and you tell her, "Listen, your daughter is lost, and I'm sorry, there's no way. I think we just are going to remove her name from the list, if you don't mind, because we don't have any hope there." She will eat you alive. I want you to think with the mother feelings, not with the servant's feelings. The problem is, because we have numbers, we forget that each one of them has a father. And that's the father. And the mentality of the servant, you should think like this father. He didn't ever think, "Oh, my older son's here, alhamdulillah, forget about the other one." He was really looking like his mom, I don't care. He never thought like that. He was actually thinking all the time, "When is he coming back?" Number 3, be proactive, respect, and accept. Number 3, share. And in Matthew 14 is the feeding of the multitude. One of the disciples told them, let them go. We don't have place or food to feed them. It's a problem. We have a problem in service. Let them go. We are not going to serve these people. Okay? Jesus said to them, they don't need to go. Can you please get chairs and come? There are chairs outside. Thank you. They don't need to go away, give them something. One of the things, the mentality of the servant, as a servant you should do, listen to the people you are serving. Jesus here listened. Somebody told them they are hungry and it's the end of the day. Jesus said, I'm Jesus. Why are you telling me this? I am the servant. I am the head servant. I am whatever. Jesus listened to those whom he served. Mentality of the servant. You should listen to others, to other opinions. And believe me, I was made a fool of myself so many times when I don't listen to a servant who is 30 years younger than my age. Because in many times their opinion is far better than the earthly wisdom that I have. Because I ignore their opinion because I thought I have experience. But they have the Holy Spirit exactly like mine. Thank you. So Jesus asked them, do you listen to the other? Would you accept the request? They need to eat. Would you say, no, we're only going to speak about God, we're not having. Why don't you listen to the people coming to you with requests? The mentality of the servant should listen. You may be able to consider it, you may not, but at least listen. And then, if it's acceptable, why not? Why not? Even Christ himself accepted the request and worked on it. He found that the request is reasonable. If they go now, no, I'm not letting them go now. So, basically, he did the miracle. But there is one thing in the miracle. This is, by the way, a hut in Ethiopia. All of this family are living in that hut. Okay? But that's beside the point. I'm trying to say all of this have a blessing. Because somehow one person got 5 loaves and 2 fish, less than the lunchbox of one kid, and he said, that's all what I have. But Jesus took them, and he blessed, and he gave, and everybody ate, and 12 baskets after 6 hours are remaining. So, sometimes the simple reaction is, let them go home. We have a problem, we don't want to take care of it. But remember, you can be working with very little resources. I looked today when Angie and Phoebe were talking, and I took pictures of, to tell you the truth, our kids are saints. If you see the room they were sitting in, believe me, there isn't a room like that in Egypt, in Upper Egypt. I can show you the pictures. The walls falling, there are cement and marble and something on the wall. Poor Angie, she has to present her presentation in the back of a ping pong table, dark green, if you don't know what's a ping pong table. And the chairs, half of them are broken. And I said, and we are complaining about these kids? Really? I mean, if a parent walks in, oh, our life. I just want to say that really sometimes we are ready to reject simple things and we say, no, I'm not doing it. Although that's they deserve better. They need better. You need to start searching for better things. How can I make the world better? Of course they have to sit 50-50. Of course they have to be organized. Of course nobody's going to eat before the second. There is necessary discipline. There is an organization. And then they counted. You know, I did some math for this miracle. They said they divided into 50s. And there is 5,000 men. Let's assume half of them married. So that's about 7,000 to 8,000. Let's say half of the married have average of 2 children. Nina, you are the smartest brain here. Let's say 12,000, 12 to 15,000. Divided over 50, because they groups of 50. How many is that? Let's say 60, 50. No, less. 30, 50. How many disciples? 12. How many groups per disciple? 2.5, right? About 2 to 3. Each disciple served 100 to 150 people. About 300 people. I want you to imagine the labor, the intensity of labor per person to feed. 50, get the food, give them. And then as soon as everybody eat, they go to the other 50. The first 50 finished, they want to eat again. Because they, can you imagine, all of this are statistics for the servant. You need to, as a servant, you have to have the mentality, the accounts, the organization, but in the same time, they are in need, and they must be filled. And then, no leftovers. No fragments to be lost. And these are the memories of the servants. Each servant went home with a memory of a basket. Because there were 12 baskets going home with. Each one carrying a big basket, going home with it. And every time this servant would say, oh, I have a problem. How am I going to take care of this service? He opened the basket. He finds still filled with fragments of fish and bread. He says, really? He laughs at his foolishness and says, with my own hands, I fed 300. Each time ate at least 2 times, and I still have that basket. Why should I worry? Number 5. You have the mentality of the servant by renewal of your mind or change of your mind. For example, don't ever think that these people will enter the kingdom of God and those will not. Look at this sentence for example. Strive to enter through the narrow gate, for many will seek to enter and will not be able. Our renewal of mind, meaning you want to think of everybody that want to enter. You want everybody to enter. That's a renewal, that's a change of mind. Actually, you go on the street, you want everybody you meet, everybody you face. Look at this one. This is a renewal of mind. I have 100 people here, but that's not the list I'm supposed to have. Statistically, it should be fine, but that's not the mind of Christ. The mind of Christ, if he loses one, it's not 1% to him. 1% is far important. Can you imagine? That's the mentality of a servant. The mentality of the servant is not happy with 99%. At least the mentality of Christ, the servant. Another mentality of the servant, changing of the mind. How people look like. The person who come late and go to liturgy and stay in the back, maybe he doesn't look exactly right. He has an ear clip, or she has a nose earring, or not eating, nosling, I don't know what you call it. But she has something, or he has something. That doesn't mean this person is not praying. It's a big problem in profiling today. This is the change of mind of the servant. 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure some of you may have noticed, about 5th row in the men in the new church, we had communion, we finished. And I was look this way, I found a blonde girl with a earring,
Piercing.
huh?
Piercing
here. She has tattoos in both hands. I can see tattoos here too. And next to her boyfriend. So I went and sat next to her. And I started explaining, there are chairs here. I think. Yeah. I just want to tell you about profiling. There's a huge guitar. This girl obviously tattoos all over. When I sat next to her, all her legs, she has a very short skirt, all her legs are tattooed. I can't imagine the number of people are looking at them. I'm trying to explain to them and I'm getting distracted with so many people. We should be looking at the altar. We should be looking at anything. It's a communion time. I have to sit down because if I stand and they are seated, it doesn't look right. But when I start explaining, the guy, more than the girl was very distracted. The guy was very interested in what I'm saying. When I start telling him a second, and we are the Orthodox Church, and I asked him, why did you come? He said, we had time, and we were passing by, and we were supposed to go to a musical, I don't know what, in Manhattan, so we said, let's walk in. Nobody invited them. I'm just trying to tell you how many eyes, if those people really cared, it doesn't look that they were embarrassed, but. And when I told them, Abu Antonius was speaking in Arabic, and I remember it was Matthew 18, the Gospel. So I told him, he said, no, let me open it in my phone. To tell you the truth, when I sat down, I said, this guy probably doesn't know what the Bible is. I'm trying to tell you my own judgment. This guy opened it. He said, is it New King James? I said, yes. And he opened it. Abuna is speaking in Arabic, so I started explaining. He said, excuse me, just don't speak. I want to read this first. I was very impressed, believe me. The girl was distracted. But I must say, that's nothing wrong with that. No, seriously, I meant distracted, meaning she was just, if you come to a Coptic church, look at how many people looking at you, icons, incense.
It's different.
Yeah, it's very different. But I just want to tell you, change of mind. Who's praying? I don't know who's praying in the church. The deacons are praying? Or the guy who can't stand up and had to sit down? Or the woman who is crying because her daughter has been lost for years and nobody cares about? Who's praying? Definitely not you to judge. But the real servant who doesn't change his mind, meaning give a chance to everybody. Don't be the person to say, tattoos and her arm, that's. It's not your problem. She came to God's place. Okay, number 6, the mentality of the servants know how to delegate, how to assign and reassign responsibilities. Look at this. He says, he sent Peter and John saying, go and prepare the Passover for us. The servant knows how to have so many working with him. Because if the blessing goes to one, believe me, it's too little. The more servants that do the job, the better. If I can find 5 people carrying the same chair, if that's the only chair can be served, fine. But I'm sure there's plenty of services. That's why I get so happy when I see so many servants doing little things. It's fine. Who said servant has to do big things only? Who bought that concept. Assign the responsibilities. Where do you want us to prepare? Look at this, another one. Then you shall say, when you have entered, a man will meet you carrying a picture of water. It's thought to be St. Mark. Told them, where do you want us? The master wants the Passover. By the way, this verse was meant that Judas doesn't know where they are staying. Beside the point. But at Luke 22, the scholars agree that Christ didn't want Judas to know yet. That's why he didn't tell anyone about where to stay until the last minute. Finally, but it will take a little time, I want to pick on each one of us as the bigger brother to the lost son. I'm talking about the mentality of the servant. So I'm going to dissect the older brother now. So, he was angry. He was the older brother. He was the older brother. He was angry. Oh, he heard the music. He asked what happened. He told him, your brother came back and your father have slaughtered the calf. And they have a big feast. He was angry and would not go in. Therefore, his father came out and pleaded. Please, Habib, pleaded with him. That's us. Older brother is the servant. I'll explain. So he answered and said to his father, I'm not coming. These many years I have been serving you. I never transgressed your commandment at any time. I'm a good servant. And yet you never give me a young goat that I may marry with my friends. But as soon as this son of yours, not my brother, came, who has devoured your livelihood with harlots, and you killed the fatted calf for him. The first part to talk about the older brother, us. He was angry and wouldn't go. And I want to ask many questions to us. I'm asking me. If you feel like you are not part of this, fine. Would you sometimes hope that your brother disappear? Because he's annoying, you don't want him, you don't care for her, you don't want her to come anymore. I lost half when my brother left. Now he comes, he wants to take half of my half. Now he wants to take the place where I serve, where I have fun with people. He comes in and everybody get attention. I'm the servant. I'm called to be the servant. You're angry even at God. Hate. He doesn't deserve to come. He doesn't deserve to have communion. I heard a woman one time, I was waiting for Abuna, and she told him, Abuna, I don't understand, why did you give this woman communion today? And to tell you the truth, up till this point, I'm wondering how many people stand in the church and judging others who should have communion and who is not. And by the way, they have no reason to make this judgment, because the one who is offering is not them. Like if the communion I'm giving, like out of my own generosity, then maybe. The second point, what is his problem? He said, I served you for many years. Why are you serving? It's a question. It's a mentality of the servant. Sometimes we need to stand and say, why are you doing it? I'm doing it for the fun, I'm doing it for the group, I'm doing it for the fame, I'm doing it. I don't know. Why do we worship? Why do we want to live pure? I never transgressed your commandments. The servant will say, God, I am your good God. You are lucky to have me. I have never transgressed your commandment. Really? Did you follow all the commandments? What about the commandment of love your neighbor. What about the commandment of have mercy on others? I'm asking me and each servant. We sometimes don't have mercy on others. We don't have seek your brother. Here. Don't even kill. I remember many years ago, Pope Shenouda, I read it, I didn't hear it, had a lecture called Do Not Kill. The whole lecture didn't speak about killing by blood. It was talking about killing by words. Don't kill. How many times I said, I'm a good person, I don't deserve this. I'm a good person, I cannot be with those people. Okay, what is his problem? Yet you never give me a young goat that I might make merry with my friends. I wonder if I would paraphrase this and say, we want to have fun as a group, but we don't want these people to come with. So is it the goat or your brother? It's a question. Is it your friends or the lost one? You are asking for your rights, but what about your responsibilities? We always ask, that's my right. Like I'm telling you how poor the environment the junior high school are in today. They are so simple. No one complained once. I never heard them. We don't ask for rights. But we should ask for their rights sometimes, because sometimes we are just acting with our own rights. But I don't care about responsibility, but that's a responsibility. And a question now, when your brother left the group as the mentality of a servant, do you know what your father had been doing all along? I don't think he was happy marrying, eating goat, and slaughtering calf every day. So when there is one lost, why don't you notice the father's face? You want to marry, and your brother is lost. You want to enjoy, and your brother is torn. Okay, finally, and as soon as your son of yours came, who has devoured your livelihood with harlots, you killed the fatted calf for him. By the way, just in case if you don't know, it's nowhere nowhere in the parable, in the story, it's mentioned that he was with harlots. Never. It was never mentioned. But I, the older brother, I, the church goer, I, the organizer, I, the servant, can make judgment as much as I want. Oh, uncle, you don't know what this person is doing all along. She is, he is. And I'm making blank statements, exaggeration. Maybe, yeah, she did once wrong, and I say she is all along. Maybe he made a mistake once, twice, 10 times. Now he is completely loose. Exactly. Nobody heard about the prodigal son with the harlots until the older brother made the judgment, and it wasn't mentioned. And then you call him your brother or his son. See, sometimes we don't worry about people lost as a mentality of a servant because we never think of them as our brothers. It's the brother of somebody else, and she is the daughter of somebody else, and he is the son of somebody else. And that's why it's never my blood. It's never, I don't care enough because it's never mine. Okay? You want to keep having fun? There are and and you do not want to, in other words, you want to have all your fun and you don't know if your brother is eating or even drinking? I don't know if you know, one of the brothers of the church got 68% third-degree burns 3 weeks ago. He has been in ICU for now for 3 weeks. They had tracheostomy yesterday, meaning they opened a tube. Horrible, horrible condition. I'm sure some people heard. I'm not sure how many people are praying. I'm not asking to go. But the question is, you don't even remember sometimes. You don't even, it's not in my family. It's not in my family. It's not in my gang. It's not. And that's the complete opposite of the mind of Christ, the mentality of Christ. Completely opposite. Everybody is your responsibility. Everybody. Your brother hardly devoured anything, and you want to devour yourself. How do you know that he was with harlots? And even if he did go with harlots, isn't your job to cover up? I mean, really. I met a woman in the church last Sunday, and she had 3 kids. So one of the kids in the summer camp, she's doing well, okay. But the middle one, I didn't know, she's I think 4th grade or something. Apparently they went in a retreat, I don't know, to Poconos or something. I don't know where they went, but it's Brooklyn Church arranging it. And then the mother is coming complaining very bitterly that a couple of the servants, ladies, they were making fun of her daughter that she has a crush over a boy. She's 3rd grade or 4th. And the mother is very wise. She said, are they crazy? Even if she has a crush over a boy, she's the 3rd, 4th grade. What can she do with that crush? And they make a big deal and they talk that the family is not taking care of my daughter. How did I know about this? Can you imagine? I took the blame so bad because I felt she's really stabbing all of us. She said, you guys are always talking about our kids and you think we're not taking care of them and you guys know everything about them. And what's the 3rd grade having a crush over a boy? What's the big deal? She's right. What's the big deal? But we made it a big deal. Really? Wouldn't it be better to take care of the problem rather than to talk about the problem? Is that the mentality of the servant? Would Christ do that? Finally, the father is the best servant. So he answered him, son, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours. It was right that we should make merry and be glad. And your brother was dead, for your brother was dead, and is alive again, and was lost, and now is found. Of course, every time I read this, I say, I don't think I deserve to be called son. If I have done all these horrible acts as a servant, as the older brother, then I ought not to be given the title of his daughter or his son. Because I never cared about the others the same way he cares. Look at this dialogue or scenario. The son wants a goat and a calf and friends. And the father wants, all what I have is yours. We sometimes look at this. I want a trip with all these people with me. I want to go to this fun place with only these kids with me. I want to have a comfortable whatever, fine. And the father would say, and I want you all with me. Completely different mentality. And I'm not sure when I am going to raise my bar to that level. I am finally about to be happy. Don't spoil it. Exactly, like I'm imagining the girl with the tattoos and the boy with the guitar. I'm just imagining that God is so happy. And he told Archangel Michael, just blow the trumpet. This couple finally came. And then they got a couple of good eyes, and good muscle shifah. And then they left and they will never come back. So I'm finally happy. You, older son, don't spoil it. Believe me, if I count the percentage of people that were brought by Christ, and none of us servants did, it's not English, much higher than us servants brought these people. Believe me, it's probably 90 to 10. We think we bring people. We just, at the last thing, we do something. 90% they come back because of God's effort only. I wish we just don't spoil the 90% by, telling them off or showing them. I know of a girl, she's 40 years old. Believe me, she's 40 years old. Samir, I will tell him the name later on. I will never forget when she was 28 and she told me I will never walk to this church. She was coming and she has a blouse that's a little down here. And one of the senior female servants really wrestled her. She told her off and how dare and all of this. And 22 years later, she came only to attend the wedding. Once. I keep thinking, I'm not saying it's good to come with any clothes. I'm not saying that. But I always think, would God allow my ripped jeans 16-year-old kid to come rather than a servant or a parent tell him, if you come like this, you are not leaving home. And the father has been waiting, عامل كده ومحدش جه. Nobody came. Because I stopped him somewhere. I'll tell you a story. Somebody may know a priest in Frankfurt. His name was Abuna Bigol. Abuna Bigol was my Sunday school teacher when I was in high school, كان اسمه جورج بسيم. He told me that story. There was, at that time, the afro hair was so, very common in Egypt. I'm talking about the 70s. Okay? And then there was a kid that hasn't come to church a lot. Actually, the one who told us the story is another servant about Abuna Bigol. He came in, if you know Marimoros Cleopatra, he walks to the, by the time he walked from the stairs all the way to the hall, we call it car, 4 servants have commented on his hair. Until George Bassani, as soon as he saw him, he hugged him. Exactly like I imagine Abuna Hamid, he hugged him and he squeezed him. He used to squeeze us very hard. And he kept him, I missed you, come with me. And he took him and took the class and sat next to him. And this kid told that servant who told us, only because of Uncle George, I would have never come back to this church. 4 servants thought they are doing their job. Could have spoiled the joy of the Father. And we call ourselves, I have the mentality of servants. Finally, I'm going to have dinner with both of you. Finally, I'm going to have both of you. Don't make me lose it again. Make merry not with friends, not with the good, but with the return of the lost. That's the final message. Do we feel bad for this father? But he was angry and would not go. He is always searching for the lost, both the inside and the outside. He is waiting for the return of the lost and the repentance of the showy, who are me, who are us inside, because we show that we are good, but we do not accept the outsiders. Hoping for the one inside to look for the ones outside, but usually he looks for both. We're supposed to look for the outside, but we are not that great, so he looks for us. and goes outside. He always promises real festivity, but the brothers never care to find each other and only are happy when around him. He is always kind for the one who loses his inheritance far from him and those who are next to him and not thinking of him. So, in summary, the mentality of the servant, by being proactive, by accepting the other, by sharing, by working with limited resources, change of mind, delegation of responsibilities, and being the true brother, glory be to God forever. Amen. Any questions?
How do we balance between our spiritual life and serving? Because sometimes service can take over your spiritual life and you feel like you're serving, and if you're empty, you can't really live because
Sure.
you're just going into the air.
Myrna is asking how to balance between spiritual life and servant time, and it's a question I should learn from you the answer, but I'll say that the church answer, not my answer, because I need the answer. We are always told by our elders and fathers and senior servants that the person who is empty, very hard to give. It's almost like a valley, like not a valley, but rather very shallow. So drop come, drop goes, drop come, drop goes. But the true servant who really collects and absorbs and sit with the Bible and pray and must go to liturgy minimum 2 times a month, minimum. In my opinion, it should be every week, but I'm just saying because people maybe on call and things like that. Communion 2 times minimum a month. There is a program. If you don't do the program, I mean, we cannot just live out of emptiness. It's almost like if I ask, for example, Michael, because he's like my son, and I tell him, Michael, I want you, but he's on diet, so the example will not agree with him. But basically, if somebody told me I ate yesterday, so that doesn't mean you don't eat today. You eat. Not because you prayed yesterday, you don't pray today. Not because you read the Bible yesterday, you don't read the Bible today. It's a program. If we are measured by how little our lives with Christ are, I'm telling you, we will not be served. We really must do a better job in filling ourselves. So when we say, for example, there is a servants meeting and 6 people attend, definitely means those people have no depth of their understanding of how much they need. Because if you feel like you need to hear something, you have to attend. Because whoever is giving their sermon, Antonis is giving this Sunday. And he's a very deep father, full of orthodoxy, full of wisdom. Any word he comes will be, I am a thirsty land, I will hear. So blessed are those who thirst. Our problem, we don't thirst. We are not interested in the Bible because we don't thirst. We are not interested in liturgy because we don't thirst. But the true believers, true servants, thirst is coming to the liturgy and praying before she comes and say, don't let me go home today without taking anything. I have been dry the whole night. You can't just let me get out of the fasting and without getting me something from St. Mary. No way. I mean, how can I keep calling her mother and I'm getting none of her virtues? You can't let me do this. Not every year. Come on, God. I mean, you can't just let me hurt your kids every day, every year. This fasting, you have to give me something. I am treating a woman now from the church. She's Egyptian, although my number of Egyptian patients are very little. But she's such a simple woman. She has a very, very bad cancer. Believe me, if I tell you she has a very bad liver cancer, I think she has less than 3 months survival. And this woman, all what she cares about, don't tell me to break my fast. Believe me, just happened yesterday. I told her, it's okay. I mean, she's losing weight, the liver is failing. I got her muscle milk. She said, no. So it happened, the one we have has sore. So I said, hey, she doesn't know English. So tell her, so, he, so, فسالة ابنها, she doesn't trust me طبعا. بعدين بتقول لي اصل دي سنة ميل. انت ما تعرفش عملت معاها ايه؟ Like, I will not break her fast. طبعا انا واقف. I'm not doctor, I'm little kid learning from a master. And we are so, these are the servants. These are the servants. Those are the people who have good faith, strong faith, pillars of faith. I mean, she will die if she loses her fast. She, like, you know, I want to make them very happy with me. And she doesn't have money. I mean, but, so I don't know if I answered you, but really stick to basic orthodoxy program that every single 6 years old know from the beginning. It's tried and true. When Abuna Hani used when he was 9 years old, keep telling us what he used to tell us, not because he's annoying, he actually tried it. And his fathers tried it, and the ones before him tried it. And they lived by it and died with it. So, I'm not sure if we need to reinvent the wheel. It looks like it was working for them. Other questions?
I have a question. I think our issue is we don't define servant well. I think the word servant for us, it's like a prestigious thing in our church. Like, oh, I'm a servant. But we don't understand the actual definition. And I think you said it perfectly. Like, we're literal children. Even if we're serving little kids, like, we have to understand we're the ones learning from them. And I think the issue in our church these days is the word servant. Like, we don't know what it means. We think that, oh, I can teach Sunday school. Oh, I'm going out of my way to do this. But in reality, like, we're supposed to be taking the blessing from the people that we do serve. We don't know what that actually means.
Very well said. Thank you. Thank you. Any other wise comments? Very nice comments. Thank you very much.